Good morning. There's a couple things that I wanted to talk about. The main thing being the basketball season continuing and the thoughts of having a 16-team playoff. I think that's where the season needs to change to. There's no need for an Eastern and a Western conference anymore. I feel like the NBA is very great at changing and adapting and making things better for the fans. I personally think the NBA needs to change to a 16-team playoff format, 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, etc. My reasoning for that is watching Kobe Bryant's career. Every season, he had to go through Tim Duncan and the Spurs and vice versa. How many championships would Kobe have had if he didn't have to battle Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and Greg Popovich every single season? And that could go vice versa. How many rings would Tim Duncan have if he didn't have to go through Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Pau Gasol, Lamar Odom? 16-team playoff format is better for the league. With LeBron, when he was on the Cavaliers and the Heat, let's be honest, the Eastern Conference has been trash up until very recently for a decade plus. If you look at the teams that have won the championship in the last 20 years, most of the wins are coming from the Western Conference. And you have LeBron. It's either the Western Conference or it's LeBron. There's very few in between. The Celtics got one. I know the Pistons got one in the early 2000s. But there's no equality in the league because the Western Conference has always been so dominant. By switching to a 16-team playoff format, that equality in the league will start to balance itself out, and I feel like it would be more exciting. How many wins would the Bucks have this year if they didn't play the Knicks, multiple times per season? How many wins would the Lakers have if they're not playing the Clippers multiple times per year, or the Warriors when they were going through their 5-year super dynasty? I feel like records and stats are tainted a little bit because of the competition in the conferences. Switch to a 16-team format. Give the fans what we want. At least for me, that's what I want. Also, I want to talk about Mark Cuban a little bit. I feel like Mark Cuban is one hell of an owner. If you're a casual NBA fan, you wouldn't even know Mark Cuban is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks because he's sitting courtside, he's interacting with his team, he's giving high fives, running out onto the court, showing emotion. In my opinion, he's one of the best owners in the league. And I feel like he's really setting an example of how you're supposed to treat your players. There's a reason why Dirk Nowitzki never wanted to leave the Mavs. It's because Mark Cuban takes care of his players. The NBA is a wonderful league, and it's a players' league. And I'm very excited for what the future holds because the NBA is able to change and make changes. And also, I had something interesting pop up yesterday. Somebody told me that Jason Kidd in his prime would not be able to defend Russell Westbrook. That's interesting to me because I feel like the kids these days don't really know anything about Jason Kidd. People think Jason Kidd was just a passer, a brilliant floor general. But Jason Kidd could play some defense too. I'm going to have a post on Instagram later today of a little 3v3. You can go and check that out. Instagram, TalkSmackWithMac, everything TalkSmackWithMac. And yeah, man, I personally think that Jason Kidd may be able to stand in front of Westbrook and give him some fits. He can give him a little bit of cushion and kind of hope for the best. The thing with Westbrook is he's slow, so explosive that if his three-pointer is falling, it's going to be a long-ass day for whoever's guarding him. But if the defender could give him a little bit of cushion and that three is not falling, they might be able to stand a little chance. And I want to end on back to the start of the regular season for the NBA. I've always been an advocate for pushing the NBA start to Christmas Day. Christmas Day is always a huge basketball day. There's like 5 or 6 games, really great games. They all have great storylines. And I'd like to see the NBA start on Christmas. The reason for that is because with the NBA starting in October, now you have the NBA competing with MLB. You have the NBA competing with football, the NFL. By pushing back to Christmas Day, you're starting the NBA season after the baseball season ends, and you're starting the season towards the end of football. So the NBA will have little to no competition from other major leagues as far as viewership. And by pushing it back to Christmas, that will give us fans a little bit more sports to watch. You know, the NBA will push forward and go through. If it starts on Christmas, it'll probably run through July, you know, with the championship. I think that works best for us because the NBA season will be ending. MLB will be in full swing, and we could watch baseball, and then football will be starting a month later. So start the season on Christmas. Maybe that's some light coming from the coronavirus, is that the NBA could kind of try new things, try new formats, and kind of see what happens. So I'm excited. I'm excited being a sports fan. And I'm sure all the other sports fans out there are just as excited as I am and anxious for the return of sports. You know, we're getting a little bit of taste from the UFC. They're holding it down for us. But, yeah, 16-team format, push the start of the season to Christmas Day, and let's see what happens. I think it's going to be best for everybody. If you have any questions or any comments, or if you want to interact with me, hit me up. Let me know. I'm open to allowing anybody to hop on the podcast and talk a little shit with me. So, yeah, thank you for showing me love and tuning in to Talk Smack with Mac. We're only getting better. Soon I'm going to have things on the walls, and it's going to be a fun ride. And I appreciate all of you that are jumping on the bandwagon with me early and going to ride this thing for as far as I can take it. Thank you for your love, and I will continue to keep growing and getting better. Peace.